A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 14th October 2020. Day is Wednesday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote. He is happiest to be a king or peasant who finds peace in home. This is not just about your house, right? It's not a place of your dwelling or the place in which you share, a house with your family members. It's not just limited to that. That is, of course, a very basic, very important thing, but you can take it to next level as well. How you are feeling under your skin, are you happy? Are you feeling enough? If you are a king and if you are not satisfied, then you will not be happy. And if you are a peasant, a laborer, and if you are happy with whatever you are, wherever you are, then you will be happy. So it all depends, right? It all depends on us. With this difference, StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is for Civil Services Examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination. And to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. Mind you, till 16th October, EMI offer is also available on our smart course. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. And the most important thing, dear friends, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you have already done that, then can I request you guys to inform 3 more students about StudyIQ education? On our table, we have 4 important articles. The first one is from the Hindu, the third one is from the Hindu newspaper, and one from Times, and the other one is from Indian Express. So the first one is an easy topic. Last Saturday we have talked about this thing, so why we are discussing it again? Because there are some add-on things here, right? So this is the main reason. So let me quickly remind you about this region. We are talking about this region. On one side you have this country called Azerbaijan, on the other side you have Armenia, and then you have this portion here that is known as Nagorno Karabakh, right? I'm going to refer it to NK. NK is much easier to pronounce. So NK region, a quick history, right? If we go through the timeline of NK region, then we find that the region, largely populated by ethnic Armenians, is located within the international boundaries of Azerbaijan. Under the Soviet Union, we are talking about USSR. This province was autonomous, right? That was part of this Azerbaijan Republic. In 1988, when Soviet power was receding, when Soviet, pillars were getting bit weaker and weaker, at that point of time, regional assembly in NK voted to join Armenia, triggering ethnic clashes. And finally, 1991, disintegration of USSR took place, and then Armenia and Azerbaijan went to war over this largely mountainous, forested enclave. From 1991 till now, we have seen many up-downs in this region. The reason why we are discussing this region is because it's very important for global peace, of course. The second thing is, I asked you this question last Saturday about this water body, and many of you have posted your answer, and the right answer is Caspian Sea, of course, right? This sea is rich in minerals and fossil fuel. I'm sure you'd be aware about this thing. Now, a few weeks ago, we saw this new sort of state of war between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Now, Armenian rebels are backed by Armenian government, of course, and this NK is a self-declared republic within Azerbaijan, and this is a big risk for wider conflict in the whole region. You find Turkey here, as you can see here, and Russia is not far from here. So if I believe this is Russia here. So Russia is a good friend of Azerbaijan as well as Armenia. But when you make a list of things between Russia and Armenia and Russia and Azerbaijan, then the more weight is on Armenian side, right? Russia is a defense partner as well as there are so many things going on between Russia and Armenia, but that does not mean that Russia and Azerbaijan are enemies, but more weight is on. It's tilted towards this Armenia side. Turkey is a supporter of Azerbaijan. It is opposing this Armenia. So, it can result into big conflict. In future, we can see some big issues taking place. Then you have Iran here, and then already there are other problems going on with Iran. Last week, we were talking about this thing that USA is not visible here. USA is not involved here so far because of elections and other thing. And already, USA is involved in so many other places. So I don't think so USA would be interested in interfering with the things that are going on here, because it's you can say things are going on in a Russian backyard. This region is you can call it like backyard of Russia. So USA will stay away from this portion. That's what I think. This is my educated guess. Now, both nations agreed to a Russia-mediated ceasefire last week, but again, this truce crumbled after this blame game started, and they started fighting with each other again. Azeris and Turks share ethnic and linguistic bonds. As I told you, that Turkey is supporting Azerbaijan because they have this ethnic as well as cultural ties with each other, and this is the reason why Turkey's President Erdogan is trying to expand its geopolitical reach to various different past Ottoman or former Ottoman countries. He's trying to connect them. He's trying to make a big team. And Armenia is supported by this. Armenia is part of this Russia-led Collective Security Treaty Organization. So it is part of this CSTO. And we know that Turkey is part of NATO, that is NATO. So two big fronts, the next level can be, if Russia and Turkey are face to face, then we can see the CSTO versus NATO. Of course, other countries would not like to go to this level, but you never know, isn't it? You never know. And Russia is already involved in Syria, Ukraine, Libya, and so many other places. So I'm not sure whether Russia is ready for a military conflict in its backyard. The best solution, the most logical solution is Azerbaijan, Armenia, and this NK rebels. They should come on a table. They should, basically start diplomatic discussion, diplomatic channels. They need to open, and on ground level, they have to have a proper ceasefire. It's easy to say, and nearly impossible or very difficult to achieve, because various different views, various different ambitions, and so many big players involved in it, and they have their own ambitions and they have their own orders and so many things. So it looks a bit simple, but it's very complex then when you have this sort of situation. It's like India and Pakistan. We know what is best for both of us, but to achieve that thing, it's nearly impossible. It's same thing similar to Azerbaijan and Armenia. Moving on to next item, auction. Now, we all know what auction is all about, isn't it? It's a very simple thing. We have seen auctions in so many Hindi films, so many English films as well. Auction is basically a method or a way to sell something. If you want to sell something, and if that is unique, or if you want to sell it quickly many times, if you want to reach out to as many people as possible or potential buyers, then auction is a way. Auction may look a bit simple, but it is not that simple. There are so many layers of auction, and auctions have evolved into highly sophisticated tools to sell a range of things. It's very intriguing that this year's Nobel awardees for economics, Robert Wilson and Paul Milgrom, they have been recognized for their pioneer work in both auction theory and design. Can you believe this thing? That a thing that looks so simple. These two gentlemen here, they have worked. They have worked. Their work is associated with auction theory and design, and they are like pioneers, right? They have started. They did play a very important role in setting up this whole base of auction. Auction was practiced early on as well, but you see, in today's world, may it be search engine advertisements, ads, right? Or I can simply put it Google ads, let's say. I'll give you a practical example. When you watch this video, if you start a video on YouTube, you will find one advertisement. When you are going through it in the middle as well, you may find one advertisement. So what companies do, these big companies, or if I have a big company, let's say, if I want to reach out to people who are watching YouTube videos, same thing goes with television as well. So I will approach Google and I will tell them that I want to place my advertisement. At the same point of time, there are other people as well, or other companies, they want to put their advertisement. So what Google will do is Google will create one auction, that if you want this in peak time, if you want the best time for your advertisement, then this is you have to take part in a bid. So everyone will put a price, that I will give 1 crore rupees for 1 second. Someone will give 2 crore, someone 3 crore, and someone 4 crore. So of course Google or any business will take the highest amount, but that's not the only thing. Many times you find that the highest amount is not the best thing. The other things associated with it also play a very important role. For example, government issues or bond auction. Government can raise trillions of rupees via RBI by selling these bonds or bond auctions. Spectrum, right? If you are giving spectrum to, let's say, if government is doing this spectrum auction, then it's not just about government getting highest amount of money. That's not the only thing. If government is selling this spectrums to a particular company for a very high price, and then this company is creating a monopoly and it is not able to expand, so that is not going to help the economy. In one shot, the government will get money, but that money will be over one day, and then you will be behind other countries in terms of data, in terms of communication, telecommunication, and data and other things. So it all depends, right? And here this article talks about this three things that defines the success of an auction. The first thing is the rules which govern the process. Most important thing. Second is the bidder's idea of the value of the auctioned item. How much, if someone is selling a water bottle, then I should have this thing in mind, that this water bottle is a normal water bottle. This is not a sort of any other. So I will not pay 1 crore rupees. But if it is a water bottle of, let's say, Queen Elizabeth I, or maybe Victoria, then it will have a price. The information asymmetry among bidders about the item. Do they have equal amount of information? Do they have access to information? Some of them might have more information. Some of them might have less information. So these things, information asymmetry plays a very important role as well. Wilson started his work in 1960s and Milgrom started in 1980s, and they spelled out how these three aspects interact with each other. What's unusual is that the winners collaborated to build real-world applications rising out of their theoretical work, and that is the most interesting thing, that both this Wilson and Milgrom, they collaborated with each other and they built something practical out of their theories. The best known for their application is simultaneous multiple round auction, SMRA. It was used in 1990s in USA, and it has been used in our country as well. Now, the success of an auction depends crucially on the aim of the auction. I'll give you one example. If we have two examples here, first one, we'll compare it, right? So the first one is charity. Let's say you have Cristiano Ronaldo. He's in news today because unfortunately he is COVID positive at present. God bless him. I'm not a big football fan, but of course I know that Cristiano Ronaldo does a huge amount of charity work, and I really appreciate that. Anyway, so let's imagine that Cristiano Ronaldo wants to do something for people suffering from hunger and other things. So there are so many NGOs, they keep on pushing you to give this much money and this much money. That's what they do with celebrities. Once you become a celebrity, they will, like this big celebrities, they have this, they get calls and emails that you need to do this, and there are so many people suffering, please take out some money and things like that. So let's say Cristiano Ronaldo agrees to give away his golden shoe, right? So just if he visits, let's say, a goldsmith, and if he sells that item, he will get just the money of that golden shoe. That's it, isn't it? But just imagine if auction is carried out, right? A worldwide auction is carried out, then you will find so many bidders coming in, right? People who are football fan, who are CR fan, CR Cristiano Ronaldo fan, and they will buy this shoe, and they will keep it as a, as a sort of something that is like their achievement, and in return they will take part in this auction, and they will take part in this bid and give the highest the highest bidder will win. So the more money for charity, right? So it's very simple to understand, but you can see here that charity organization will lose nothing here, isn't it? That, of course, the more money it will have, the more people it can reach out to. On the other hand, as I told you, if it's government, telecom spectrum auction, then government has to make sure that there is no corruption involved in it, there is no conflict of interest in it. It's not just about fetching highest money from this auction, but it is also about how this spectrum will be used, how it will benefit each and everyone, and there are so many different goals. It becomes much more complex. So the process is auction, may sound same, but the aim of the auction is different. One of those challenges in the Indian experience is to protect potential revenue by preventing collusion among bidders. And to avoid this thing, we have seen this new thing called floor price. Now, the problem with floor price is the floor price is too high. And because of this thing, right, very few, or we have seen this thing as well, no bidder came in for this auction. So that is also a bad thing. So floor price is okay, that you need this much minimum, but it should be reasonable. It should not be too much, or else no one will come to your auction. Another challenge is the winner's curse, where the winning bid is based on an overestimate of value. Anyway, we have talked about this thing enough. Now I'm sure this thing is clear to you, and this time the latest Nobel Prize is given to two gentlemen who have worked in this field, and they have done this scaffolding work. When I say scaffolding, I mean to say that they have created this base of auction theory as well as design. Moving on to next item, very important one. It's about RTI, that is right to information. This year marks 15 years of RTI law. RTI has empowered millions of people in our country. In fact, this is more appropriate way of saying that RTI has created 1.3 billion whistleblowers in our country. And information is one of the most basic raw material that you need to take a decision, right? If you don't have any information, how you are going to decide what is good and what is bad? And without access to relevant information, people's ability to formulate opinions and express themselves meaningfully is curtailed. And this is the main reason why Supreme Court has upheld that information, right to information, is a fundamental right flowing from Article 19 of the Constitution, which guarantees every citizen the right to free speech and expression. You cannot express, you cannot speak if you don't have information, if you don't have correct information, if you don't have access to information. And in recent past, we have observed this thing that RTI was used on COVID-19, right? So many people, if you have not read articles on this thing, but then as well, I know that you would be aware somewhere down the line that so many people in your city, in various different cities, from various different states, they have filed this RTI, they have applied for RTI, they have asked for this information about COVID-19 wards, how many beds are available, what are the treatments, how much for PPE kit that government is purchasing, what is the price of medicine, and so many other things. Then during this lockdown phase, so many activists, I would say, or whistleblowers or enlightened citizens said that they asked about this delivery of food grains to migrants. Are they provided with social security benefits? If yes, then how you are providing it and things like that. So, of course, this RTI is definitely a very important tool in the hands of common citizen, and it was a vibrant grassroots movement. It was not just driven by educated elite, but working poor across the country took part in it, and this became a historic law in 2005. I don't remember exact words, but I know this thing for sure, that APJ Kalam sir, when Kalam sir was president, or he was the one who, as a president, signed on this law, and he said that on that day, the day on which he was going to sign this RTI law, he was in his office as early as possible. He was so excited, and for him, this was one of the most memorable day in office. In office, in the sense, as a president, this was one of the most important and memorable day for him, that he signed something like RTI that will empower millions and billions of people in our country. Now, the problem is that, PM Cares Fund, when people were inquiring about this thing, that how you are going to spend, how much you got and things like that, then government said that PM Cares Fund is not part of RTI. When this was asked about political parties, not now, but in the past, that political parties, they get some sort of support from government, so they should fall under RTI. Then all political parties, you won't believe, but Congress, BJP, Trinamool Congress, all these rival parties, they also came as one unit, and they were on the same page. All of them in the parliament together said that we in the sense political parties, should not be under the ambit of RTI. See the game, right? Information commissions at the center and in the states are the final adjudicators empowered to act against the violations of the legislation. Sadly, in 2019, Government of India amended RTI Act. This new amendments empowered the government to determine the tenure and salary of information commissioners. So it's like election commission, right? We have Election Commission of India. Now we know that Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners, their tenure is fixed. You cannot remove them. It's like removing, it's equivalent. The same process you have to follow. If you want to remove Chief Election Commissioner, then you have to follow the same process that you do if you want to remove a Supreme Court judge. So the reason why ECI is so strong, it can take decisions, is because once you appoint one person as election commissioner or chief election commissioner, then it's nearly impossible for you to remove that person. So if you cannot remove that person, if you cannot decide his salary, right, of course parliament can decide, but if these processes are like, a sort of shield that will protect election commissioner in taking decisions, then that person will work, because this body ECI is getting powers from constitution. So he or she will work as per the constitution rather than whims and fancies of the government. But here, what you are doing is the government will determine the tenure and salaries of all information commissioners. So if one information commissioner is not behaving, if he or she is not fulfilling the whims and fancies of the government, then chances are that the government will show him or her exit door, and someone who is tilted towards the government can be appointed as election commissioner. So this will weaken the whole concept of RTI. Then we have problem of vacancies, not appointing information commissioner in a timely manner. Vacancies in information commissions lead to large blockage of appeals and complaints. It will make this whole process lethargic, and this organization or this institution will lose its ability to perform. Supreme Court has ordered this thing as well, that fill up vacancies as quickly as possible. But even today, 6 out of 11 posts of commissioners are currently vacant in the CIC, including that of the chief. The CIC is headless for the 5th time in the last 6 years. So you can clearly see that government is not interested in passing information to you. If the government was genuinely interested, like, you never see that finance ministry is without finance secretary. Why? Because you know that you are getting money from here. But this thing is information that you are giving out information. It's not generating any revenue for the government. And this is my personal observation. If you see a police station, you will find that police station will have okay sort of facilities, right? Not great furniture, not air conditioning and things. You will not find, like, nearly inhuman condition you will find in various different police stations and police chowkis. But if you visit a collector's office, the place where revenue is, if you visit IT, GST office, then you will find that they are, it looks like you are in a corporate office. The reason is because government is getting money from these places. These branches are generating revenue. The police department, judiciary, these things are not generating revenue. This was like British mindset that the shades of that British mindset we find in today's India as well. Moving on to next item that is associated with colony, right? We're talking about British mindset. So here we have this diamond in news, but the history of this diamond is that back in 1830s, Dutch naturalists, they visited Borneo Island, and the then king took this naturalists to a guided tour of the rainforest, and he was very, hospitality was great. So they were impressed by that thing, but they were dazzled by this fact that the king was very rich. And, the big question was, like, being a colony, how can the king be this much rich? So the Dutch government was informed about it, and then finally in 1850s it abolished the Sultanate and confiscated all the properties of this king called Adam. And it included this uncut 70-carat gemstone Banjarmasin diamond, the one that you can see on your screen, right? This diamond at present is in one of the biggest or most famous museum in Netherlands. It is there. It belonged to a king in Indonesia, but now it is with. Reminds us of Kohinoor, isn't it? So this Dutch Council of Culture has said that there are thousands of pieces of art looted by colonists. And this is the time that we should return these items to those countries from where we have grabbed it by invasion or colonization or unfair purchases. Western museums, right, they have this uncomfortable histories. Applies to British Museum as well. If you visit British Museum in future, then you will find this thing that you find things from India and things from China, things from Australia, things from parts of Africa, so many countries of Africa, so many countries or region of this Arab world and America and whatnot is there. And I'm not saying each and every item, but definitely there are a few items. They have this bad history. Let's take Kohinoor, right? So the best thing that the Western world should understand is that they need to return this thing to us, right? To all those countries from which they have grabbed this thing by good or bad things. This items, well, then we are not going to sell Kohinoor and make money out of it. But this is part of our history. And what they do is they tell us that we are like basically displaying this thing, and we are bringing out this history to the whole world. We are presenting it to the whole world. You are not presenting it, you are attracting, you are making huge amount of money because you have looted this thing, and now you are attracting tourists from across the country, across the world are visiting to study things about or to see things that are there in your museum. But you are using these good words that you are promoting shared history. These are not shared. If it's genuinely a shared history, then why not give us this Kohinoor for 5 years? Right? We will display it in one of our museum, but then they will not agree with this thing. So I think this all these countries that were part of European colony, we need to work together. We need to raise our voice together against these items that are looted from our country. And that's basically everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video, dear friends, and these are some news items, right? And I'll see you soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. I'll see you soon with a daily financial news analysis in like 1.5 hours, and maybe 2 hours, I'm not sure, but it will be as early as possible. So enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.